Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. This is Soft Flow. Welcome. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. And for our practice today, of course, we're going to be using lots of props. The first one I'll point out is actually my chair, which you can see right here. I'm using this as just another way to help with balance because we are going to be doing a balancing pose today. Our featured posture is dancer pose. Dancer pose. And it is a balancing posture. And so if you have a wall, a table, a chair, and something that you can just lean against just in case you need a little extra support for your balance, that's perfect. That's why I've got my chair right here. And of course, we need some other props that we like to use in our soft flow practice. And that's maybe something soft like a blanket or a folded towel. Also bring in some blocks, some yoga blocks, or some hardbound books, some large dictionaries or thesaurus. That'd be great. And then maybe just a big pillow or a cushion. This is my yoga bolster. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, but I like to have it handy just in case, especially for Shavasana. Sometimes I like to prop up my feet and elevate my legs, and so a big pillow can come in handy. So now that I've already introduced how we're going to be using the chair, I'm just going to slide it off screen. And then we'll begin in our seated position. So find a comfortable seat. I like to sit in half lotus. You can just sit in easy pose, and it's just crossing your legs here at your shins and ankles, something like that. You can also just sit with your legs extended, or even just have one leg in, one leg out. Even sit in that chair, or even sit up against a wall if you need a little extra support in a seated position. And wherever you are, just want to make sure your back is long and you'll feel tall in your seat, a nice well-lengthened spine. And then just start with some deep breaths, some steady breaths, breathing in. You can breathe in through your nose, and then exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. Do that a couple times just to get reacquainted with your breathing. And then just settle in. Just feel like your body is just softening, continuing to arrive, and feeling a little bit more present, fully aware and connected, letting go of the things that are going on outside of you so we can take the time to pay attention to what's going on inside of you. You're welcome to keep your eyes opened. You can just gaze forward or just down at the floor, just a soft gaze. Or close your eyes completely and just move inside. And as you go inward, maybe just listen to the sound of your breath. Again, just slow, steady breaths. Pay attention to how your body is responding to your breath. Notice how it feels when you breathe in and out. For example, as you inhale, you might feel the breath rising upward, or imagine it's rising upward. And just really filling up your lungs, that expansive quality in your upper body. And as you exhale, you want to draw your navel inward towards your spine, our abdominal lock. Just this good connection to your center. Again, a nice inhale, feel a lengthening in your spine, feel very tall, even feel proud. Feel the lungs expand. Then exhale, draw navel inward towards spine. It's a light contraction of your abdominal muscles. It doesn't have to be too forceful. Just something where you can just feel like you're pulling in just very gently so you have that connection. And this just deepens your awareness. Just continue to hold here in stillness for a few more breaths. Maybe just consider this your breathing meditation, a beautiful way to start your yoga practice. Again, we'll be doing a balancing pose called dancer pose, but it has other features. It has a slight back bend appeal to it, so it kind of opens kind of the front body. It'll actually open up the hip flexors a bit too. And of course, it is a bit of a back bend. We'll lighten it up a little bit, but it can strengthen your back. Let's take 3 more breaths here in stillness, and then we'll add a very simple movement. When you're ready, just inhale and extend your arms out across the room. Reach as if you're going to touch the walls, and then all the way up like you're going to touch the ceiling. That's the inhale. Then exhale, extend your arms out. Let them float back down. Just follow the pace of the breath as your arms come back down by your side. Let's do that again together. Inhale, really extend the arms out. Good energy in your hands and fingers, reaching up into the air. Then exhale. Don't forget to draw belly button in towards spine. Keep that connection to your center as your arms come down. Go ahead and continue this movement and your breathing at your own pace. You don't have to follow me necessarily. You can even just close your eyes and just follow your breath and movement. This is our moving meditation, just a gentle connection between breath and movement. And begin to notice how this feels, just as you are taking awareness of how breath feels in your body while you're in stillness. Now that the body is moving, pay attention to perhaps your shoulders, the extension of your arms reaching upward, a lengthening through the sides of your body. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on right now, and then take 2 more breaths after that. When you reach up into the air, even feel like you're being lifted or feeling a little lighter, as if you might just float right up, right off your mat. And then when you're complete, you can just bring your arms down, let your shoulders relax, your arms, your hands can just rest in your lap for a moment, and then just return to the sensation of breath. While still seated comfortably, let's move into a seated back bend, just a mild back bend. Just going to bring your hands behind you, just propped up onto your fingertips. As the arms come back, your shoulders also draw back, but just give them a little bit of extra movement and draw them back just to help open up through the chest. And then just tip your chin up a little bit, and that should open the front body. And this creates a nice relaxed back bend. We're going to inhale, press into the floor with the fingertips. Feel an energy kind of shoot up the arms, your shoulders. Fill up your lungs with that inhale. Then when you exhale, draw your navel in towards spine. Feel that centered connection. Again, breathing in, feel the energy of your hands, arms, and shoulders. Breath expanding the lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, and as you're able, squeeze shoulder blades together behind you. So some extra sensation creation in your upper back. And we are going to be doing that dancer pose, actually another pose as well that's going to complement that posture to help open up through the heart, kind of a stretch through the whole front side of the body, kind of like this one, including your hip flexors and the strengthening of the back. Lower your chin so you're looking directly forward, walk your hands toward yourself, and you just bring your arms and hands in front, relaxed in your lap. You get a nice breath. Even just lift the shoulders, maybe a nice circle backward. Lift the shoulders again, roll them forward, and then down. And just kind of shake that out. Since that was our back bend, let's take a forward fold. If your legs are crossed, let's uncross them and reposition the feet so the soles of the feet touch. We're in cobbler's pose here, or bound angle. The legs can just stay as they are. But if you'd like, just for a little added support, you can use your blocks or books or even some small pillows and just place them here underneath the legs so the legs can literally just rest. You don't have to hold themselves in place. Then you don't have to worry about them. Then maybe hold on to your feet or ankles or even your shins. And then take a nice inhale, fill yourself up, feeling that lifting, floating lightness up top. Fill up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in and start to hinge forward just a little bit, not too far, just a nice angled upper body, keeping the spine as straight as possible. Take another breath in, keep that extension through the spine. Exhale, draw belly in, really for support as you hinge forward a tiny bit more. Now you can stay just like this. I think I'm going to stay here for a few breaths, but you can also go down a little bit deeper. Remember not to force or push yourself into this pose or any pose that we do. going to modify to a great degree. Okay, as we continue to say, we're moving at about 60%, or we're moving into some of our poses at about 60% rather than that full 100%. Just to the place where you have sensation in the inner thighs, in this case. A little hip opener. Now you also could just lower your chin a little bit, let the back round, and maybe fold a little bit more, and it probably won't compromise that 60% action of folding a little deeper. And if your back happens to be rounded, shoulders will be kind of dropping forward and downward, creating that broad upper back. As you're able, perhaps breathe into your back body. Like you're just kind of pushing air into the back side of your lungs, into the bones, your muscles. Feel that expansion and let that deflate when you exhale. Inhale to fill it up. Exhale to release it. Do that one more time. And now we're ready to come back up. If your chin is lowered and back is rounded, just tip the chin up a little bit just to realign the neck, and that should re-extend the spine a bit. And then just hinge from hips to rise back up. You can always just place your hands on the mat to press and lift yourself up as a nice personal assist. And just hold here for a moment, nice lengthened spine. We can move our props out of the way. We're going to come to our hands and knees. So take your time as you maneuver yourself to your hands and knees. Here you might want to use your blanket or unfolded towel, for example, if you're using that. Nice rectangle so you can kneel and have your hands here, creating this little tabletop. Cat and cow, which is two poses that flow together. We're going to inhale and just lift the head just a little bit, looking forward, and arch the back. We're actually tipping the pelvis back so the belly kind of drops. We create a bit of a back bend and we're looking forward. Then exhale, round it all out. So tuck the tailbone underneath. Feel the broadening of the back again. Belly button pulls up towards spine because it's an exhale, chin towards chest. That's cat. And then reverse it. Tip the pelvis back. Let the belly drop. Heart opens. There's the back bend. Cow. Exhale, round it out into cat. Take your time with this. You don't have to force the postures at all, and you can certainly keep the movement slow. Since we'll be here for a little bit, if this becomes a little exhausting for the hands and wrists, you can also just step the hands forward out in front of you so you're not putting too much pressure on the wrists, something like this. You can even bring elbows down to your cushion, something like this, and still continue that cat-cow flow. It'll feel a little different than when you're on your hands, but you can still kind of create the flow without the pressure on the wrists. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on. Take two more. There's another way to take some of that pressure off the wrists. You're going to tuck your toes and we'll sit back briefly in what I call half hero, just so that you're back enough so you can take your hands off the floor like this. And then maybe a counter stretch if you'd like. Just pressing the top of the hand. I do little pulses, just 1, 2, very light, 3 on the blanket there on both sides. You can do it that way, or you can even press the tops of the hands together like this. Even a little swing action just to get into the wrist, keep them loose, or even just circles like this and wiggle your fingers. That can help get that tension out of the wrists. All right, now that we're done, we're going to crawl off of our blanket or towel. Let's set it to the side. Come back to hands and knees and we'll set up for downward facing dog. If you've placed the hands directly underneath the wrist, we're going to change that. Just step the hands forward, spreading out your fingers pretty wide as you do that. And that will get the wrists out from underneath the shoulders. Spread out your fingers so you get that stretch between each finger. Press into the mat to flatten the palms. It stretches open the palm right there. You even feel that energy in your arms. Even hug the inner arms, your forearms, in towards each other. Imagine maybe you're holding on to like a box or a beach ball between the arms. Now tuck your toes again. Let's do cat and cow. So inhale to cow, that's the back bend. Exhale, round it out into cat. Hold cat for a second. Toes are tucked, lift the knees, and then lift your hips up into the air, which should elongate through the spine.
As needed, just adjust your feet and maybe even your hands on your mat. Keep the fingers spread out wide. Keep pressing firmly into the ground to flatten the palms. Even a little extra pressure towards your thumbs and index fingers, so we keep that energy of the inner arms, hugging in, holding on to the imaginary beach ball. Now look straight down at the mat. Step forward into that space, maybe just the center of your mat, at least when your feet are flat on the ground, and then just slide your hands toward your toes. That's forward fold. But let's inhale, slide hands up to the shins or knees to extend the spine. Hold here with an exhale to half forward fold. Feet are firmly planted into the ground, knees are bent here, maybe feeling a stretch through the hamstrings. Your core body, your core engagement, your abdominal muscles are actually helping you to hold in place like this, as well as the hamstrings. Go ahead and shift your weight back into your heels. Bend your knees like you're about to sit down into a low chair. Look forward, spread your wings or arms out to the side, then stand up. Just straighten the legs, long, tall torso, and finish by reaching up into the air. That's an inhale. Then exhale, go ahead and bring your arms down by your side right here. Excellent. Maybe some circles with the shoulders, shake them out, even a little circle here with the elbows. Go back to those wrists, wiggle your fingers. You can even work down the body, your hips, even your knees and feet. I like to stretch my toes here too. All right, let's do our half salute to the sun. All right, that's just our fold, and we come right back up. Here we go. Inhale, extend the arms straight up into the sky. Nice stretch. Exhale, fold forward, hinging at the hips. Put a good bend in your knees and go slowly here. It's a good way to engage those small muscle fibers. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees. Re-extend spine. Again, we'll hold here on the exhale. Couple breaths here, half forward fold. Sometimes I call it monkey pose. Your hands are just lightly resting on the shins, just below the knees. Shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees more, look forward, take your arms out to the side, straighten the legs, get very tall, get even taller by reaching towards the sky. Then exhale, arms return to your side. There you are. Shake that out if you want to. All right, let's do our variation, our first variation of Warrior One. Now you can use that, a table, wall, chair. I'm not going to move my chair just yet. I'm going to use that later. But here, just standing in mountain pose. Put a softness in the knees. Keep that bend, slight bend. Then start shifting weight into the right foot. Hold there for a moment, okay? Because this is actually going to be the same setup when we get into dancer pose. So feel the foot just really root strongly into the floor. Strong right leg. Lean forward a tiny bit. You can even use that wall or table for support. Then start tapping the left foot back. Keep the heel lifted, flex toes like that. The weight is still forward. I can feel the strength in my right thigh. But we're going to shift that weight. Pivot and turn and plant that left heel into the floor, and you'll find yourself centered right here, planted on both feet. Not too much distance between the feet in this lunge. Place your hands on your hips. You're going to push your pelvis downward and get really tall and lengthen through your torso, making some space in the belt line so you can actually turn to face forward with some ease. Now we'll inhale and take both arms up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows to a good 90 degrees right here. Let's hold this. Several breaths. Even feel like your arms are like in a doorway and you're trying to push yourself through the doorway, but you're caught because of the arms. So really just an opening up right across the chest, right at shoulder level. You might even feel your back body, your upper back muscles engage a little bit. Go ahead and inhale and extend the arms straight up into the sky. Exhale, bring your arms down, place them on your hips. Start to shift the weight forward, returning to the front foot. Pick up that left heel, step forward. There we are. Let's inhale to stand up nice and tall, reaching towards the sky, and exhale, arms return to your side. You can shake that out if you'd like, and we'll just prepare for the other side. So our variation, our first variation of Warrior One. Softness in the knees. Shift weight now into left foot. Let's hold here for a moment. Feel that solid connection into the ground with that left foot. Strong left thigh. Lean forward a little bit. So you can start tapping or stepping the right foot back, heel lifted, toes flexed. Weight is forward, we shift back, pivot that right heel to the ground, sit right in center. Place hands on hips, push pelvis down as you feel the extension of the torso. There's the space across the belt line. turn to mostly face forward. Go ahead and inhale and extend both arms straight up towards the sky. Exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. And then imagine yourself walking through the doorway. Just hold or pull the arms back gently, not too forcefully, opening up through the heart. That stretch quality across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. Even feel the whole upper back body kind of light up a little bit. Inhale, extend the arms straight up into the sky. Exhale, arms come down, bring hands to hips. Shift weight into left foot, good pressure. Lift the right heel, step forward, feet are together, standing tall now, reaching into the air as you inhale. Exhale, arms return to your side. Hold here in stillness, or again, just shake all that out. Now let's get ready for our sun salutation, just moving through a nice sequence. And of course, we'll be getting into our second version of Warrior One. I'm just adjusting my mat. Here we go. Inhale, extend your arms into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees. Feel the weight shift back into your hips and heels. Go slowly if you can. Folding forward, maybe touching your toes, but certainly don't have to. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs to your shins or knees, extending the spine. This exhale, we're going to fold, round the spine, bend your knees more, get low enough until you can place your hands on the mat, and then start walking both feet back to the back end of your mat. Align the body or elongate through the body so you'll be in plank pose. Breathe in right here. Feel strong. Exhale, bend knees and send hips up into the air. There's our downward facing dog. I typically kind of tiptoe forward a little bit and take my feet a little wider, even take my hands a little wider. Let's hold here for a moment so you can feel that firm connection into the ground with the hands, a little push, energy in the inner arms. Breathe. Warrior One. We're going to inhale, extend the right leg up behind you. Just reach back for the wall. That's perfect. Exhale, bend the right knee. Bring the knee in underneath you towards your chest or chin. Shift your whole upper body forward. You can see that your shoulders are now aligned over the wrist. Go ahead and set the right foot down. Just be your toes. Heel lifted. Set the left knee onto the floor. This way you can actually reach back, go get your right foot, and step it up to the top of the mat. Now, you can do that in case you can't step the foot all the way to the top of the mat at one try, the first try. No worries. Relift the left knee. We're going to pivot and place that heel onto the floor. Weight is still forward. This is the second version of Warrior One. We're setting it up. So we need to shift the weight back, finding that center like we did in the first version. Before we rise, extend through the spine. Nice long, flat tabletop. Hands should be light. They should be easily able to lift up off the floor. Hinge from hips. It's the strength of this right leg that's helping us to rise. Nice and tall. Inhale, reach the arms up into the air. Exhale, just lunge a little deeper. We're going to hold here for a little bit. First with the arms straight up. Maybe a breath or two. All right, now just bring the arms down. You can just let them relax, actually, because I want you to pay attention to the left leg, especially if a wide stance. I happen to be in a wider stance than I'm normally in for Warrior One, or maybe my left hip flexor just happens to be tight. Maybe that's the case. But I can really feel this in the left leg, right in this area. And that's going to be great for our dancer pose. Okay, I'm going to inhale. You can follow me, reaching the arms back up into the sky. And exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room. Bring your arms down to parallel. And there's our Warrior Two. Now, the feet probably didn't have to move too much. But just be sure your right knee and toes are still aligned. Meaning, well, I should say they still are pointing forward. Just make sure the knee didn't dip to the inside, okay? But still pointing forward in that transition. Let's reach forward, angled upper body. No extra pressure in that front knee. Rotate the arm, so the right hand reaching down, left hand reaching up right here. You don't have to go down too low. This is kind of where I typically go, even for a more powerful class. I do this pose just like this. You certainly can go lower, but for soft flow, you certainly don't have to. Just want to feel the strength in the legs, a nice extension of the arms opening through the front body. Let's breathe in and exhale. Here's our turn. Fold, bend, take your time, plant the hands, rise up onto tiptoes behind you so you'll be in a runner's lunge. Press palms firmly into the floor, strong arms, even lift the hips. What I'm doing is kind of rising up on my tiptoes a little higher in that back foot and try to feel the hips lift up into the air. That should make it a little easier, hopefully, to slide the right foot back to meet the other plank pose. Soft knees, hips into the air. Return to down dog. If you need to rest, please do so. So you can get off the hands for a few seconds if you need to. Then just join me. We'll inhale, extend left leg into the air. Reaching back is fine. You don't have to lift it too high at all. Exhale, bend left knee. Bring that knee in underneath you towards chest or chin. If you can, step the foot to the top of the mat, that's fine. Otherwise, just set the foot down wherever. Flexed foot, heel lifted. Set the right knee down. Let's go get that foot. If it happens to be too far away from the top of the mat, pick it up, place it there. Relift the right knee. Pivot right heel to the floor. Let's get some weight shifted into that back foot. You might even step the hands back. Get that footing correct. Extend the spine. Inhale, hinge from hips. Rising up, facing forward as best as you can out over that right knee or left knee, reaching the arms up into the sky. Hold here for a moment. Nice wide stance. One more breath. And just go ahead and relax the arms. Stay in the lunge, but just relax the arms for a moment. Let's check in with that right hip flexor. Yeah, I think my hips are just tight today because I'm really feeling this. Now, if your distance between the feet is too far apart, you can certainly bring the feet a little closer together. But again, this is going to help us with our dancer pose since it really does get into the upper thigh, the low belly, right across the belt line. We're going to inhale, take the arms back up into the sky. Here we go. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. There's our warrior two position. Left knee and toes, still pointing forward. That knee hopefully did not dip to the inside. Let's reach forward, just angle the upper half of the body. Rotate the arms here. Stay as high as you like. Go as low as you need to, being sure you're still working at about 60%. If you're reaching and touching the ground with your fingertips or palm, just check in with the body, making sure you're not overdoing it because we certainly don't have to today. Let's move. Breathe in. Exhale, carefully turn, fold, bend. Bring the hands to the floor, rise up onto tiptoes. There's our runner's lunge. Hands firmly pressed in the ground, strong arms. Get a little higher in the hips as you're able so you can slide that left foot back. Here's plank pose. Hold for an extra 2 seconds for strength. And then we'll set the knees down. You can sit back in a full hero or half hero to get off the hands. You can do that little pulse of the hands on the mat. We are going to take a seat, okay? So you can just slide off to the side, swing the legs around to the front. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat and go ahead and roll down onto your back. We're going to take our bridge pose. Now, bridge is great here because it is a back bend. It's a mild back bend since we'll be using the blocks. So be sure you've got blocks or books right here. And the mild back bend will get us prepared for our dancer pose because it also features a back bend. We're going to lie down, bring knees to chest. Even some movement here. I like doing this gentle movement. I just create like figure eights and some circles, rocking left and right, really just to massage the low back. Even circle the feet and wiggle the toes if you can. Go ahead and set the feet onto the floor. Knees bent. Take a full breath in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, empty belly, and then lift hips into the air, just high enough so you can grab those books or blocks, slide them underneath you, and then just sit right there on your blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you can also just bring in a big cushion. Okay, it would probably be a little softer, but that's okay. Just as long as you feel kind of propped up, okay, just not on the floor. Let's hold here for a little bit. We're going to do something a little extra here. Since we are supported and sitting on the books or blocks here, yes, we are getting a gentle opening through the front body. We're going to add a little bit more sensation to this, just to get into the upper thighs. Okay, but first just a few more breaths here just to experience bridge pose. It's a back bend, it's a heart opener. Two more breaths. All right, here's the next movement. It actually is optional. You can try it out, and if it doesn't feel quite right, go back to this position. All I'm going to do is just extend the legs just a little bit. I'm just kind of resting on my heels, but I've straightened the legs a little bit out front. I'm going to go a little bit deeper, just extending the legs a little bit more. So I really feel this, there it is. I can feel kind of this lengthening, opening sensation, kind of in the upper thigh, the hip flexor region. kind of creating this like hill, like a rolling hill with the body, since the hips are lifted and sitting on the blocks. Again, if this doesn't feel quite right, you can always support yourself by bending the knees, plant the feet into the ground. If you're here with me with the kind of this rolling hill sensation, just take one more full breath. And then go ahead and bend knees again, plant the feet. And then we'll press feet into the ground to lift hips, move your blocks out of the way, and then slowly melt your way back down to the ground. Once you've landed safely there, hug knees into chest, give yourself another massage, some circles, rocking sensations, eventually rocking forward and back, so you can rise up to a seated position. You can rock up to sit up or roll to your side and press yourself up. I'm going to rock myself up this time. Here we are. Let's do a mild version of boat. Keep the heels on the floor, flex your feet, knees bent. Hold on underneath the bent knees. Lift yourself up so the back is flat, straight up and down like you're sitting up against a wall. That will ensure that full length. Inhale to get you there. Exhale to lock it in place. Navel pulls in towards spine. And then start to lean back just a little bit. It doesn't have to be far at all. Again, 60%. This is a great 60%er for our boat pose. You don't have to lean back too far, and the feet can stay on the ground. You'll feel the core engagement. You might even feel hip flexors engage a little bit. Okay? And actually, a little bit is actually quite good. We don't want to overdo them, making them too tense, because we're actually trying to stretch them out a little bit. All right, go ahead and sit up, relax, even just cross your legs for a moment and just sit up nice and tall. All righty. We're going to do another back bend, which is really going to help us get set up for dancer pose. So you're going to swing around, come to hands and knees. Feel free to bring in your blanket or towel again here underneath you. Okay? So we're here. We're going to do side plank, okay, but we're going to turn it into a bit of a back bend. Follow me. Tap your right foot. I'm tapping it, then I'm going to swing it out to the right side. I'm creating what I call a kickstand for a little bit more balance. Kind of lean a little bit into your right knee and right hand. Extend the left leg back. All you're doing is actually just lifting the knee off the floor, extending the leg, but stay propped up on the toes. And then just open up to the left side of the room as you swing this left arm up into the air, just like this. Okay, so this is our side plank position, but we're going to see if we can make this a bit of a back bend. Let's start by extending left arm overhead, just getting energy reaching that direction. You might even find yourself shifting a bit forward, getting more pressure, hopefully not too much though, in that right hand. We need to find balance so we can actually let this left foot float into the air. Flex the foot here. Reach in these opposite directions. Now you're going to bend this left knee, bring your heel toward your backside, and take the left hand behind you. Now if you can touch or grab the foot, that's fine. But you don't have to. This takes a lot of balance. You have to reach, just reach back. So the shoulders opening, chest is opening, you're reaching back, and you've created this back bend feeling, okay? And you're opening up through this front side without even needing to grab the foot. Let's re-extend the leg and arm overhead. Go ahead and turn, return to the mat. Left hand, left knee. Let's sit back into child's pose for a moment. Extend the arms out front. Your forehead can come down to the blanket. I'm bringing in a block. After one breath, bring the arms behind you like this. Just like you're reaching for your feet, allowing your arms and shoulders to completely relax. This is also going to be good for the wrists and fingers. You can even wiggle your fingers here. Again, just getting that pressure sensation out of the hands and wrists, because that took a lot to do in that side plank. We're going to do the other side in a moment, which means the left hand's going to get some work. Okay, let's go get set up. Let's come back up to hands and knees. Right here, let's tap the left foot, swing the left foot off to the side for the kickstand and balance. I'm leaning a bit into the left hand and knee so I can extend the right leg back, lifting the knee, keeping the toes propped on the ground. And then start to spin open. You can adjust your kickstand and just open up sideways right here like this, reaching high in the sky. Nice opening. Even feel like, imagine you're wearing a belt and you're pushing your belt buckle forward. Okay, now reach your right arm overhead, extending. A little shift of Weight into the left hand a little bit more. You're changing the center of gravity so you can actually pick up the right foot. Flex the right foot, nice extended leg, reaching in these opposite directions. Really, you're extending through the spine, and then bend the right knee, bring heel towards backside, and bring the right hand behind you as if you're going to reach and touch or grab the foot. Again, you don't have to. I'm just, oh, there it is. I'm just tapping the heel. But I'm just going to keep this a little bit more mild and not even grab hold. Okay? But just reaching back. Now, how does this equate with the dancer pose? Well, you'll see in a moment. We'll just be doing a similar thing, but in a standing position. Let's re-extend the right leg, right arm overhead, turn. Let's bring right hand and right knee back down to the floor. Pause for a moment just to realign the body. Let's do another child's pose. Sit back. Arms extend for a few seconds. Your forehead can come down to the mat or a block. And then relax your arms. Same thing, just bring the arms behind you. Let them drop. Let them completely relax. No engagement. Wiggle your fingers. And come back to breathing. All right, we're making our way towards our dancer pose. So we need to make our way back up to standing. Let's come back up to hands and knees. Let's move our props out of the way here. Back to our tabletop. Why don't we take 2 breaths, cat and cow, since we're here. Inhale, lift head and heart, arching the back. Exhale, round it out. That feels good. One more. That rounding of the spine really feels good. Come to a neutral position. Let's step the hands forward. We're just going to return to a down dog. Step the hands forward. Spread out your fingers. Pressure into the mat with the palms. Strong arms. Tuck your toes. One more cat-cow. Inhale, look up. Arch the back. Exhale, round it out. Pull belly button up towards spine. Lift your knees off the ground. Lift hips into the air. Feel the straightening of the spine. Keep the knees really bent here. Walk to the center of your mat. Feet are flat on the ground. Slide your hands towards your toes. Feel the nice curvature, rounded back body. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees to a flat back. Halfway up, hold. Now shift weight into the heels, bend your knees, spread your wings. Inhale, let's reach up into the air. Even pause here for an extra second up there at the top, and then exhale, bring the arms down by your side. Good. Shake everything out as you need to. Check in. Just notice what needs a little extra attention. Maybe your shoulders, maybe your elbows, wrists and fingers. Check in with the lower half of the body. All right, I'm going to bring in my chair. So make sure you've got something that's going to help you with balance, something that you can lean into, basically. Let me see. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fold my mat back and just bring my chair in so you can see me. Okay? So it could be a table, a wall, chair. It doesn't matter. Just something. You may not even need it, but it's nice to have so you don't have to worry too much about the balancing act. Okay? So dancer pose. It's a balancing position, standing on one foot, opens the front body, it's a bit of a back bend. Let's get into it. So a little bend of the knees. Maybe this is the same setup like we did the Warrior One. Shifting weight over to right foot, plug it in, nice and strong. I'm using this high chair right here. I'm just balancing so I can step this left foot back just a little bit, right there, flexed foot. But what I'm going to do is actually bend that knee and lift the heel, bring it towards back side. Bring the left hand behind you here. Now this time, as you're able, see if you can catch the ankle or foot. Okay, we're mimicking what we did on the floor in our side plank pose. But this time, see if you can grab the ankle. Let me just turn this way for a second, because when I did this, I kicked the foot back and I reached back, but I couldn't reach the foot. I had to pull the knee out like that. That way I could grab the ankle and then hug it back in. That's fine. Okay? Now, I'm putting a little bit more bend in that right knee, and I'm tipping forward. Okay? Now you might need, if you're up against a wall, you might need to step back a little bit. I'm just going to actually move my chair forward a little bit, because that's a little bit easier at the moment. Okay? Because you want to be able to lean, okay? Kind of tip over. Now, this is plenty as far as this posture is concerned. Okay, we're balancing on one foot. We got the leg kicked back. We have a bit of a back bend, but we can actually add more. I'm going to flex this left foot. See how I flexed it right there? And just kind of lift the foot towards the ceiling. Okay, there's my back bend. It's mild, okay, but I'm doing it, okay? Hip flexor right here, left hip flexor, getting a bit of a stretch, lengthening. You can certainly go a little deeper. Here's how you can do that. Bend the right knee more, tip over more, and maybe kick that left foot up a little higher, okay? 3 more breaths. Okay, that right leg that you're standing on, at least for me, I'm really feeling that. Okay, we're going to rise back up nice and tall. Let's release that left foot to the ground. Release the wall or chair. Shake it all out. Okay. Now, probably the hardest body part that's working is probably the leg you're standing on. Okay. Very nice. All right, I'm just going to switch directions here. I'm just going to do the other side over here so you can see it. Okay. But the same action. So this is our dancer pose. We're modifying it and using these props for balance. Again, we want to have a little bit of distance, okay, from your wall or chair. So I'm just going to step back a little bit. Soft knees. Put a little weight and pressure in that left foot. Feel rooted and grounded. I'm using this back of the chair. Tap the right foot back, flex foot. Pick up the foot, kick. Right there, reach back with right hand. I can't reach it. My knee is going out to the side so I can actually grab hold and then squeeze it back to center. Okay, this is the starting point. This could also be the end point. Just practice balance if you just need practice balancing. Or a little bend of the left knee, tip over a little bit. Just use that wall or chair or table for balance. Flex the right foot, kick it up a little bit. When you feel this right shoulder kind of roll back to open up through the chest, you can stay just like this. I'm going to go a little bit deeper, bend the knee, tip, kick. Now I'm really feeling this. I'm probably just beyond that 60% because I know I'm not in the full posture, but my body is working. But I can still take deep breaths, and that's really the idea. And there certainly is sensation. And I could hold this for a long period of time. Well, not too long, because the left leg is going to get a little tired. Okay, we're going to rise back up, squeeze the inner legs towards each other. We can release that foot to the ground. Arms down by your side. And that's it. Let's shake it all out. Circles in the shoulders. Check in with hips. You can even do a little side bend, side to side. Alrighty. So I'm going to move my chair out of the way. Let's just make our way back to a mountain pose. We'll flow, make our way down to the ground, and come to the closing segment of our practice. So back to mountain pose. Deep breaths here. Let's inhale, take the arms out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back and down into the imaginary chair, flowing slowly, making your way down towards toes. This feels really good to fold after those back bends. Slide hands up the shins, extending through the spine. Exhale, fold and bend, getting low enough to place hands on the mat. And then step both feet back. Straighten the body here. Plank pose for a second. We'll take one more down dog. Bend your knees. Send your hips into the air. Adjust the feet and hands. Hold for a breath or two. Downward facing dog. Gently set the knees onto the floor. Sit back briefly in hero or half hero. Sit off to the side. Swing the legs around to the front. Okay, let's bring in those blocks because we are going to do bridge pose once again. Sit in the center here. Roll down onto your back. Hug knees into chest. Check in with everything. Maybe a little massage. Circle through the feet. All right, plant the feet into the ground. Inhale to fill up your lungs. Make sure you got your blocks or books. Exhale, engaging, lifting. Slide the blocks underneath you. Sit. We're going to do the exact same thing. Just hold here for a continued gentle opening for the front body. You can stay just like this. If you want, again, just an option, you can extend the legs out front like this. Just adding a little bit more extension and lengthening. Okay, through the upper legs, right into the hips, across the belt line, maybe a little stretch in the low belly. That's what you kind of experience really in a lot of back bends, because they're multifunctional. Back bends in yoga, of course, are called heart openers because it opens the front body. If your abs, for example, your belly area feels a little tight and tense, because it can, okay, maybe just lengthen it out, stretch it out, something like this. Open up the front body. 2 more breaths. I'm going to come back to my regular bridge pose. Press feet into the ground, lift the hips, remove the blocks. Carefully make your way back down to the earth. Let's hug knees into chest. And we'll extend the legs straight up into the air. Now, of course, you could have done that on your blocks. You still can. You can bring the blocks back underneath you, or even bring in something softer like a big pillow or cushion, so that bolster would come in handy. Okay, and then just extend the legs in the air. Now, the legs may be straight. You just hold onto the legs. You can bend the knees a little or a lot. Okay, the idea is just to extend the legs. This is very therapeutic to get upside down, okay, and get the legs up in the air. This really takes the place of poses like a shoulder stand, or even something more dynamic like a headstand or even a handstand. Okay, it's just flipping our world upside down and getting kind of the circulation, kind of going in the opposite direction and taking some of the pressure off of the feet. Okay, I also like to add like some bicycle pedaling here, just some extra movements in the legs, getting into the joints a little bit. So you can join me like this if you want, or just continue extending the legs. A little stretch. A couple more breaths. And then go ahead and hug the knees into chest. Just hold onto the knees with your hands. And let's take happy baby pose. One version I like to do, especially like in soft flow, is just take the legs wide like this. You don't have to kick the feet up towards ceiling. Just take the legs wide. This is one version. Okay. Another version, of course, is to take the feet up in the air. And as you're able, hold on to the soles of the feet, the bottom of the feet here for happy baby pose. But if you can't reach that high, or it's a little bit of a strain, then maybe just hold on to your ankles or shins. Maybe the soles of the feet are just facing the ceiling. And here's our hip opener. So some versions here. You can even add movement. I like to add a little rocking sensation left and right. So we'll do our happy baby pose, and we'll do a reclining cobbler's pose, or reclining bound angle pose. So after one more breath in and out, let's bring the soles of the feet together right here, and then go ahead and set the feet onto the floor. Let the knees just kind of fall open. You can just let them hang open, let gravity pull them down. If that's a bit of a strain in the inner thighs, go get those blocks or pillows again, and just let them sit underneath the knees, opened legs here, and they can really relax. I think this is really beneficial. Great if you just want to have kind of a relaxing posture to open up the hips. This is perfect. A few more breaths here. Three more. We'll go ahead and finish with a twist. Let's go ahead and bring the knees together. Moving the blocks out of the way. Hug the knees in, not too forcefully because we need a little room in the hips. So you can take both knees over to the left side, all the way down to the floor if they reach. If you don't want to rotate that far, again, just bring in a pillow or book or block, or even a blanket, and that'll just kind of stop the rotation like this. While the knees go to the left, extend your right arm off to the right. Feeling as relaxed as you can. Now there is some engagement. The body does have to kind of hold itself in place in some areas for this pose, but really also just trying to relax a little bit. As you twist, getting a nice rotation in the spine. This also affects the hips and low back. 2 more breaths. Go ahead and bring the knees back up to center. You can hug the knees in, pause, allowing the spine to realign. And then you can take your knees down to the other side, down to the floor or a prop to help stabilize and not over-rotate. And left arm extends to the left. See if you can just settle in, just find some relaxation here. And deep breathing. So we're almost at the end of our practice. We still have a good amount of time, and so what you can do after your twists, you can return to some poses that you've already done or add poses that we have not done. Just take the moment here perhaps to assess what your body needs at this time. So you can move into those poses to help bring your body to that place of fulfillment. Two more breaths in this twist. And then you can bring the knees back up to center. Again, kind of checking in with your body, figuring out what you would like to do next. I'm just going to throw out some options. You don't have to do what I'm saying or doing, but I'm just giving some ideas. You might just lie here, feet on the ground, knees bent. Even return to a bridge pose. What I'm going to try out here is actually I'm going to lift my hips, slide a block, 2 blocks underneath me. I'm going to go back to my inversion, okay, and taking the legs up into the air. Now I'll throw out some other options. You can do another back bend, like bridge pose, another hip opener, okay, kind of that frog style leg stretch, happy baby pose. You can go back to a twist or do a different variation of the twist. And whenever you feel complete, just do whatever you need to do or want to do in these next few minutes perhaps. But then eventually making your way to either Shavasana or some other restorative posture. I think what I'm going to do next is lie flat, extend my legs out front, and reach my arms behind me and just stretch here. Even a little side bend. Sometimes we call this banana pose. You kind of bend the body like into the shape of a banana, just to kind of lengthen and stretch the sides of the body. And I'm going to finish by elevating my legs, something I mentioned at the beginning of practice. And what I tend to do is I'll take my blocks and create a pillar. I've heard some teachers call this Stonehenge. And you kind of create a Stonehenge. Okay, so I've got my pillars using the blocks there. Then I take my bolster and just place that on top there. There's my Stonehenge. And then place my legs on top. Now those blocks are not as stable as I would like them to be, so I have to be careful here. And then I'll lie down. Some padding for my head. I'm just going to bring in my blanket right here. Very comfortable, so nice elevation in the legs. So again, anywhere that feels very comfortable where your body can completely relax. Very little muscle engagement. Softening the body and your mind. Perhaps closing your eyes to move inward. Of course, you can keep eyes open, just gazing away into nothingness. Maybe all you sense, feel, and hear is your breath.
As you relax or come to stillness, sometimes thoughts like to creep into your mind. That's very natural. That's okay if that happens. But if you'd like to just put those thoughts to the side and come back to them later, just take a deep breath. It's a great way to clear the mind by paying attention to the feeling and the sound of the breath, and then just settle again into that full release. Stay right where you are, no need to move. Just continue focusing on your breath, clearing your mind, softening your body. Now you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like, especially if you found great comfort and ease in your mind and body. No need to interrupt it just yet. Stay here as long as you need to. Even when I finish the practice, you can just stay just like this. When it is time to move, and there's certainly no rush to move at all, start with breath. Take very slow, deep breaths. Maybe count to 5, even count to 10. 5 full breaths or 10 deep breaths. Something that just generates a little bit of energy in the body and preparing your body to move. You might just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, feel that movement rise into your hands and feet, and just right up along the limbs, your arms and shoulders, up the legs, past the knees into your thighs, right into your torso, your hips. Feeling this movement gently return. Then sometime after that 5th breath or 10th breath, moving as slowly as you can. Maybe rolling to one side of your body. Just moving into a nurturing pose. Continue to move as slowly as you can. Coming to seated. Just moving my props out of the way. Maybe sitting on your blanket or pillow as tall as you can. Letting the breath bring you back to this space. And then one more movement together. And inhale to extend your arms out and up into the air. And exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Take one more breath. And as we come to the close of this portion of our journey together, we bow saying, Namaste.